Welcome to the Obesity Medicine Podcast with your host, Dr. Rentea, board certified in internal medicine and obesity medicine. Here, we talk about a path to metabolic health, and we have real conversations about chronic weight management and living a full life. Just a reminder, I am a physician, but I'm not your physician. So everything that's on this podcast is for informational purposes, but please go talk to your doctor about what's right for you. There is no medical advice being given on this podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today, we have the absolute amazing privilege of having actually a current patient of mine, Meg. She is absolutely phenomenal. And we were talking the other day, and I said, hey, listen, you are such an example of, as you've been on this journey over the past, over the past year here, of all the things that you're doing, and you were already healthy to begin with, but all the things that we talk about. And I was saying, I don't think people ever hear what it takes to maintain your muscle, to kind of keep going, to keep tweaking things. And so I said, hey, would you be willing to come on the podcast and kind of we just talk about this? Because I feel that honestly, I'm motivated when we talk and really hearing how you go through things. So Meg, can we start out? First of all, thank you for coming on. And do you want to introduce yourself a little bit, just so people have a little bit of context?
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much for having me. And I always enjoy our conversations. So I'm looking forward to this one. Yes, I'm a 66-year-old and I have a husband and a 30-year-old son, and I retired a year ago. So this is definitely a lifestyle change, which has been wonderful. And I've had a long career in mental health as a psychiatric social worker and then a manager, and also have a certification in mind-body medicine. So I come from a place with a lot of education about health and wellness, but yet found myself in a place where I really continue to struggle. And so that's when I learned about you and the kind of practice that you had that ended up really meeting my needs. And so that's what brought me here.
Well, thank you for sharing that. One of the things that you share about with all of your amazing background and all of your knowledge and experiences, it's usually not that people don't know what to do or things like that. Actually, when you came in, I know you said you're an open book. You were exercising all the time. You were eating healthy. This is not a story of like, I didn't know what to do, right? So one thing I'm wondering is kind of, you embarked on this journey, and something that I've always been impressed with you is how you kind of minimize it. Sometimes you're like, oh, I only do 30 minutes of exercise a day, but you've really learned how to do the things, rotate what you're doing, really tweak it. Can you tell me, like, when did that even start for you? Like, how did you start to figure that out, even if it was like well before my clinic?
Yes. Well, I've always exercised. I actually grew up with parents, like my dad was a physical education teacher coach and my mom was a nurse. So my dad was jogging in the 60s before it was popular. So I grew up around that atmosphere. And so I've always done spinning has been kind of my favorite thing to do. I bought a Peloton bike and do that on the regular. And so exercise has always been a part of my life. And my weight, though, has gone up and down over the years, no matter how much or how little exercise I do. And so that has become a part of my life. And it always has been. It just makes me feel really good and strong. And if that answered your question.
Yeah, definitely. So basically it was always just kind of part of kind of being brought up with that. And I think it's interesting because I think a lot of who's going to be listening, I know me included, exercise was not intuitive to me, right? Like my parents tried to like, hey, let's do more. Let's go on the bike in the basement and, stuff like that. But it just didn't feel intuitive. So it's good to hear, look, there was always just joy with it. Cause I think that's achievable actually for people to not come at it from a place for weight, but just like, I enjoy moving my body. What do you think has been the most helpful thing over the past year that sort of helped you on this, like this, let's just call it part two, kind of this next section of doing things?
Well, the biggest change has been the addition of a semaglutide, GLP-1. So that has completely changed my ability to stop the food noise and not be hungry all the time. I mean, it seems like, especially after menopause hit, I was hungry constantly. And no matter how much I ate, or it just never seemed to be satisfied. So I would say that the biggest thing is the medicine. But again, your pillars, and your audience already knows you well enough to know that, the protein, the fiber, the stress management, the exercise, the movement, and the sleep. And, those 5 things I mean, if you have all those down, and obviously I personally, with my metabolic issues, I needed
Mhm.
the GLP-1 to
Yeah.
kind of honestly make all those other things really be easy, not easy to do, but successful to do.
Possible consistently, right? It's
Yes,
like it's not that you can't do this stuff, but sometimes like the being able to really consistently execute on some of it, right? Because I always say like when the physiology is off, it doesn't matter all the knowledge we have in our head, we can't overcome some of that, right? So
right.
yeah. So that it's so funny because you mentioned like all these different areas, right? So this is something that I think I talk about a lot with you that people they make it sound like you're just gonna get on a med. This is what I wanted to just talk to you more about. Like people think they're just gonna get on a med and then they're like, it's just not happening for me. It's not falling off. I'm not at 20% weight loss. And when I hear you, you worked on sleep, hydration, protein, fiber, stress management. There's so many areas there, right? It's like you've traveled at different times. You weren't like, and now we're just off for 2, 3 weeks. Now we just don't do it. You continued. So was there an aspect where you feel it was a little bit more sustainable now? Like you could actually stick to these things? Like it wasn't like this like diet for a week or two?
Well, the biggest thing that you helped me understand is the role of protein and fiber. And so I knew about that. I even worked with a dietitian. Of course, we talked about that, but I don't think it clicked till I
Yeah.
got with you. And 100 gram, I started off at 100 grams of protein for me
Yeah.
and 25 grams of fiber.
Yeah.
And boy, I mean, that's a game changer, because if you're working and focusing on the protein, then you're not so hungry so much for the cookies a little bit, after the
Yeah.
lunch. You had
Yeah.
a decent amount of fiber and protein in your diet. So
Totally.
just getting, I think I always knew protein was good for you, but for some reason, when we started really having a plan put together and
Yeah.
we're looking at numbers, I used to count calories for God knows how many years and
I know. I
weight.
remember when you came in and I was like, okay, cool. But really what I care more about is did the protein and the fiber make it in?
Exactly. So I do use my net diary, which is one of those My Fitness Pal
Yeah.
things. And so what I did was, instead of, I took the calories off and put the protein and fiber on. And
Love it.
I just tracked, everything I ate. And as I've told you recently, I've just stopped doing that, trying to see how I can do it without tracking, because now I'm getting closer to a maintenance stage. But, I just tracked it so I could learn how much protein is in foods and fiber is in foods, so
Totally.
that I kind of have that working automatic knowledge.
I like that
But
you bring that up. There is that learning period. There's like the visual ways, okay, the palm of your hand, 30 grams, things like that. But there is just a period of sometimes it's not about measuring and weighing for life, but just having an understanding this is actually enough to fuel my body, right? Because otherwise I feel like it's really hard to know. I mean, we use InBody, right? So like monthly we can see what's happening with body fat and a skeletal muscle mass. But otherwise there is this learning period. Have you liked the app that you're using? Like, did you ever use other ones before that?
I may have used My Fitness Pal before, but I think back in the calorie days, they had a good macros situation I was going for. So
Yeah.
I ended up going with that. I like the scanner. To me, you have to have a
Yeah.
scanner to scan your food.
Yep. Okay, perfect. So it makes
Uh,
life easy. Okay.
yeah.
If you were talking to someone who they are like they've been struggling, and they're trying on their own to do the diet, the exercise, all the things, what do you think was the thing that made you say, hey, I want to try this a different way? Like, what advice would you give them?
You have to find a pattern of living that works for you, which is a big thing. You got to find the protein and fiber that works for you, that you are
Yeah.
not going to throw up. I mean, like, I'm not a cannellini crunch girl. So, for example,
Same. Oh my gosh,
you
yeah.
got to find the protein fiber that works for you. And I've got some things I've found there. You've got to find the exercise that works for you. And it's like, I love the Peloton, but better than that is I found a Facebook group run by a coach, a fitness coach. For free, she develops programs, and that's what I mostly follow, which gives you a little schedule of arms day, legs day, Pilates day that I follow. So for me, it was bites of exercise,
Love it.
5 minute, 10-minute bites of exercise that equal up to 20 to 30 a day. And so to me, and again, the food plan that works for you, an exercise plan that works for you. And then you've got to figure out, your time management. I'm retired now. but I worked all those years, and you have to figure out how to fit all of that in and prioritize it.
Yeah.
And honestly, my philosophy on that is I would get up at 5:30 in the morning and go to a spin class. I mean, and it's because I remember leaving that feeling. I felt so good,
Yeah.
because I had the dopamine going,
Yeah.
but I felt so good that it was one step towards the person I want to be, that saying, the one step towards vote for the
Yeah.
person I want to be. So I
Yeah.
just felt so good physically, but mentally
Yeah.
too. And
Yeah.
what do you want to do to feel good every day?
Oh, I love this. Okay, so it's finding the unique protein and fiber that works for you. I agree because everyone's different, right? So I give the example in our clinic, but I'm not like you have to eat this. These are the types of things what I want you to work toward, but everyone is so different. If we said what everyone was eating, it's no one's on the same plan. And the figuring out, I like how you said this bites of exercise, like it's not too overwhelming. It's not like an
Yes,
hour that I have to do this thing, right? But you're
yes,
super consistent with it is the thing. I can't even think of times when you haven't done it, right? So it's
yes.
incredible. And the time management, I can't agree more with you because I have to say it really is a time commitment, right? Like I thought about today, I'm having a particularly long day and I had to get up at 6 to make the walk work, right? Like, and I had to say to my husband, hey, can you please handle our kid, right? Like get into
Right.
the school bus. I'm going to be over here doing this. It's like really being like, this matters. I have to do this. Can you tell us, because everyone's going to want to know, what's the name of this group where you love it?
Okay.
Because they're going to want to know.
First of all, Peloton is a piece of the puzzle because the exercises she prescribes are in the Peloton group.
Okay.
So if you aren't into the bike, and they have a lot more classes besides the spinning bike. They have Pilates, yoga, strength, meditation, bar, all that. And so this group is called Hardcore on the Floor. Hardcore is one word, on the floor. And actually, if you Google that, I just checked, you can Google it, and she's gone off Facebook because not everyone wanted to be on Facebook. So you
Yeah.
could go, but Peloton, you can join and just do the classes for $12.99 a month.
Yes.
That's not a bad deal. So,
That's
and
not.
this Facebook group is free. Nicole asks for donations, and I do because I appreciate it so much. It's been perfect for me.
Yeah.
So she offers a schedule. It's called the calendar. And on the calendar, Monday's leg day, Tuesday's arm day. And so she prescribes 30 minutes of exercise, 10 minutes of core, 20 minutes of legs on Monday, for example. And so each day is prescribed. I tweak it for me to add spinning. And so I do Wednesdays and Saturdays spinning for me. But if you Google that, you can get her calendar. You got to ask to join the group. And then if you join Peloton, then you can sync the calendar with the classes so they pop right up on your iPad.
Oh, I love this. I actually found the website. So we're going to make sure to link this in the show notes because I know when you've been telling me about this, I'm like, everyone loves different communities, right? So I'm like, if we can always provide the full breadth, I love also that there's a free aspect because everyone's always, oh, the money to this or that. I'm like, listen, if there's a will, there's a way. There's free
Yeah.
YouTube videos. There's this group. There's what do you like? How can we do it consistently? And I love hearing that you like this. And so we're going to make sure to link this. And it looks great. I'm like, it's kind of nice to have a calendar, right? Like just to kind
Yeah.
of, yeah.
And I was thinking you could definitely get YouTube videos of her, like her ideas, 10 minutes of core, you could YouTube the way she lays out the plan. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
suppose you could do that, but it's no, I don't have to think. That's what I think I told you. I'd get up in the morning when I worked, I went straight downstairs. I don't even think about it. Just go straight downstairs and do it before work. I didn't eat. I drank water, didn't do my coffee. And then afterwards, I would do my coffee, protein coffee, and the rest of my day. But that's how it worked for me. I
Yeah.
was never an afternoon girl, after work exerciser. I did it sometimes, but I started being consistent just first thing in the morning. Now I'm retired. I have my coffee first, but that's a different situation.
I love that you bring this up. I'm the same way. It's like if it's not happening by lunch or before, forget it. There's no more steam in the tank by 6, 7, 8, 9 at night. so,
Right.
so I like that you bring that up. So okay, so we've talked about kind of getting started. It's actually finding things where you're not repulsed by the food. You actually like how you're moving. And again, this takes time. I'm sure this all was not overnight that you knew exactly what you liked, right? what do
Yes.
you think if you had to say with people like they're on the road, they think things are going slow. They're not really sure, gosh, what's up or down, because everyone I think wants it to go really fast. And like your numbers were amazing monthly, but even you were like, well, I don't know, like you kind of lose it in the middle of the forest, right? And so what did you tell yourself when you're like, you just keep going? Like that's what my words that I'm using, but
Yeah.
what's the kind of language that you think works for people, for you?
I remember those days because all my counterparts were losing 5 pounds a week. And I've lost a pound a week till January, I'd say half a year.
Yeah.
Where this all started. And then I've been in the last few months, it's been half a pound a week. So 2 pounds a month, roughly two to
Yeah.
three.
Yeah.
But it's been steady and it's been going down. So one thing I think it's going down. That's one thing I say to myself, it's going down. And it's a journey. And as you've really said, it's a lifestyle change a lifestyle change that I can keep up with even after, you
Yeah.
know, at a maintenance stage.
Uh-huh.
And you got to find again something that is realistic for you to keep up with.
Yeah.
But the other thing I do is each day you were mentioning on another podcast about, why people exercise. And one of the things I think about is how I'll feel if I don't exercise. And so in the morning, I get up and I might grumble for a second, but I always think of that post-exercise feeling. And I will feel really like, what if I don't exercise for 2, 3 days in a row? How I'll feel. I'll feel like sick. I'll feel sluggish. I'll feel not strong. And so I always think about how I'm going to feel and know I'm going to feel good if I do it.
Yeah.
That really carries me through.
I love that you bring that up because you know what it makes me think of? It's like once you've, if you think about, okay, let's say 3 days from now, you've exercised 3 days in a row, who's gonna be like, you know what? I didn't want to do that. I regret doing that. No one said no one ever, right? So my thing, it's like Dave Ramsey with debt payoff. He always talks about, look, if the house is paid off and you don't like the feeling of the grass under your feet when you walk on it, you can always go back and get a mortgage, right? So it's just this thing of like when you've done the work, you're always grateful to have done it, right? So I love that you bring that up. That I think is a really good tip because I find exercise to actually be one of the hardest things for people to get on board with, specifically strength
Mhm.
training, but also just in general, getting into some type of practice moving their body daily. So I really like that thought of, look, how will I feel if I don't do it? What if it's a few days out? I always say like 10 minutes, 10 days, 10 years. And honestly, you'll feel amazing 10 minutes in. 10 days out, 10 years out, it just really compounds. So you're bringing a lot of good stuff here. One thing I would wonder if you would comment on, I know something we do differently is we use InBody. So like we follow the skeletal muscle mass because I'm really concerned always about, it's not just about shape shifting that the scale goes down. I actually want you to be healthier. I want you to maintain all your good muscle for longevity, for flexibility, for metabolism, for all of it. Do you think that changed at all using this
Oh,
time versus other times not and just having regular
yes.
scale?
Oh my gosh. Well, obviously, I'm sure everyone who knows you knows about the InBody because it's something that you're so passionate about. And so passionate, I bought one. I finally broke
Yay.
down and bought one because this is a long journey for me.
Yep.
And it is, regular scales are so misleading. Some of my friends, oh, I gained 3 pounds. I said, did you gain, you just weightlifted the day before. Did you really gain 3 pounds of fat? No, you probably did not. And so regular scales are so misleading. I mean, it's almost like the BMI. It's a tool that's moderately helpful. And
Right.
so if you're on a journey, I mean, if you can at least go, I went to a local gym at first, and then I saw what information you got. It was so helpful. And I'm 66, as you know. And so for me, obviously, as you age, apparently I'm a senior now. And as you age, you could lose muscle mass if you're not on top
Really
of
on
it.
top of it. Yeah, the norm is to lose muscle. So even to maintain is amazing, but let alone if you're losing weight, then it can accelerate that, right? So
Right.
yeah,
And I just had no idea. But also the little things like, if you are a big weightlifting day, my weight will be up like through the week, it'll be up a little bit. And then I'm
yeah.
down 3 pounds, but on a regular scale. But on the InBody, it helps you understand that what's going on more accurately.
I love it. I sometimes I get people that come into the clinic that are actually already at maintenance, but they lost weight really rapidly. They know they kind of decimated muscle. They can feel how they're weaker. So we actually need to gain muscle. And that's very triggering for people to see the scale go up. But when we have the InBody, they see it was 2 pounds of muscle this past month. Because we always associate weight going up as being bad. Like we've been conditioned it equals fat, but how do you know if it's muscle and you actually want to go in that direction? So yeah. And for you, it was so encouraging to be like, look, all this stuff that you're doing, how much it matters. I mean, yes, you feel good after doing it, but it's also, it's data. Like this is something that's objective if we have a lot of body dysmorphia or we can't trust the thought distortions that we have. It's something that we can actually grab hold of that can be quite helpful at times.
Yeah. And the weightlifting and the program, the way I do it, I'm honestly weightlifting 40 minutes a week.
Yes.
Maybe 30, because sometimes I don't do both legs.
Yep.
I do 20 minutes. So the rest is Pilates, yoga, spinning, right?
Yeah.
And so think about it. And maybe Pilates, you get some strength. But anyway, that's amazing to maintain my skeletal muscle mass with 30 minutes, 40 minutes a week.
I'm glad you brought that up. This is what I think people always think. I'll tell you the flip side. So I always tell patients either 30 minutes once a week, 10 minutes, 3 times a week. Again, we see 99% of people, they're going to maintain their muscle, right? But I'll have people come in that are doing like 5 hours a week and they think it's a hero move, right? They're like, look at how much I'm doing. And I see their muscle go down, go down, go down. They're too, so the word is catabolic, right? Like everything's breaking down with strength training. You actually have to rebuild it. And it's a tricky thing because we need to rebuild the muscle, but we're still having you in a deficit. So you're losing weight. So how do you do that? You have to not be overly stressed. So exercise is a big stress on the body, right? So there's this actually like a fine line to it. When you're in maintenance now, you can crank up all the strength training and eat more and do all the things, right? Life can look different, but I don't think people realize sort of what stage they're at, what's needed. And then they get frustrated because they're like, I'm super hungry. The skeletal muscle mass is down. I was told this would be a good thing, but not when it's 5 hours a week. For the typical person, let me just say that, like the typical person out there.
Right. And all that time, my gosh, I have a lot better things to do with my time.
I know. So I love that you bring that up because I think people don't realize if they imagine if you're out there listening and you're not doing anything, imagine if you thought, hey, can I do 30 minutes once a week? You will get places. You will. It sounds like nothing, but it really will lead to big things. So if you had to say kind of maybe like your top 2, 3 tips, and maybe it's some of the same of what you already said to kind of get going, but what do you think your top 2, 3 tips would be for someone to either get going, stay on the road, what you've learned, what you think is valuable? What would you tell this person?
Well, I front load my protein in the morning. I do a protein coffee. So I've learned about devotions, protein. And so I'll do a half a scoop of that with half a cup of Fairlife milk, which is a little higher protein milk, with 12 ounces of coffee. Sometimes I'll zhuzh it up with skinny syrups. But so that automatically what gets me going with that, number one. And then I'll add my magnesium powder to that. That's always a helpful tip. That's 500 milligrams there. And I'm a collagen fan for arthritis. It's helped me with arthritis. So I add that. And that's some collagen protein. Again, that's a little different, but it helps for me.
What brand do you like? I'm just asking because I know people are going to ask.
I went to not value, Vital Proteins, the blue.
The Vital
bottle.
Protein. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing.
Vital Proteins. Yep. Yeah. And I've been doing the micro ingredients, magnesium. Everyone has to do their thing on that, but that's what I happen to use in the morning. And then I have some more in the evening. I'm at 900 milligrams a day personally.
Yep.
Then I play my New York Times games, and then I exercise. And my other tip is then I have a electrolytes water. I use Ghost personally. I like Ghost. And then I add Optifiber to that. So that Optifiber is, I think, 4 grams of fiber.
Awesome.
So anytime I guess a tip is anytime you're having liquids, feel free to zhuzh it up and get your fiber goals or your protein goals. I want to try that Seek, SEEQ.
Yes, I've tried it. I have several at home. So
yes.
I'll tell you about that, but I just want to make sure I don't detract from your train of thought before we Yeah.
So front loading the fiber and the protein with those two drinks in the morning has helped me get like a start on my day so that I'm still trying to get through the day getting 100 grams of protein and 25 grams of fiber and also hydration.
Yep.
And then I try to eat protein and fiber with every meal if I can, if I can.
Yeah.
Um,
Listen to all these things, right? I really like how thank you for walking us through this, how you kind of front load the protein. You're getting in all kinds of amazingness all over the place between collagen, magnesium, the different fiber sources. It's funny that you mentioned the Ghost electrolytes. I love them as well. They're so tart and tangy, or I don't know, maybe I know there's different flavors that they have. I like the Sour Patch Kids one that they have. Which one what flavor do you
I
normally
have
like?
the lemonade one. It's lemon.
Okay, I need to try that. But I'm so surprised by that brand. You were mentioning Seek. I have actually tried several of theirs. They're very great. So it's a clear protein powder. It makes basically think a juice, right? So you
Yeah.
blend it up. I've tried the blue one is good. I've tried the yellow lemonade that's good. I think those are the two that I've tried. Here's the only down thing I'm going to say. And again, this is not the case for everyone. The taste is amazing, all the things. I get massive heartburn with it. Now,
Okay.
that's with doing one scoop. I have found I can do half and be okay, but I'm not sure what it is about this clear protein isolate that they're using that I don't get that with other things. And to me, I think heartburn is a wretched symptom. So
Yeah.
I personally I know so many people love it, and I'm not saying for everyone out there not to try it. And I think you might actually really love it because a clear drink is nice, right? There's something really nice about it, like just to get more stuff in. But for me personally, it just long term didn't work out.
Yeah. Good to know.
Yeah. But this is so good. I like all these things that you brought up. If you had to leave people with one thought, one motivational comment, what do you think you would leave them with?
Hmm. Uh, Back to the exercise. Well, first of all, you have to really, you know, I mean, you got to kind of believe the facts. I actually have friends that are like, they just, oh, do you need all that protein? I mean, I can just tell you, I mean, I'm a textbook person. I have done it all ways but Sunday to lose weight. And this is working. This protein and fiber, first, we kind of got to drink the Kool-Aid
Yeah.
and believe that it works. It does. It works. So number one, that. And then I think the other thing is finding the exercise routine that works for you. I mean, you've got to, and if the things that I've mentioned aren't for you, I mean, if you're a walker, go for it. But whatever it is, it's just think about what you will feel like if you do this every day, and then what you will feel like if you don't do this every day. And
Yeah.
what's the outcome if in a week from now you've done nothing all week? And then what's the outcome a week from now if you've done a little bit every day?
Oh,
And
these,
you're going to
yeah.
feel so good about yourself,
Yeah.
stronger. And that's what's more important as you age.
Yeah, you shared so much stuff today that is so wide. You said this little throwaway comment. You have to believe the data, right? And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, because it's interesting when we talk about protein and fiber, it's actually quite simple, right? We're actually not like overly needing a list or this or that. It's literally like any place you are, any restaurant, on any vacation. It's like, is there protein and fiber on my plate? Period, right? Like it's not this like rocket science game of like food lists and weird things. And so you were saying the drinking the Kool-Aid, believing it, the exercise that you can actually stick to. Because I'll say for me, like I'm a walker. Like I love my hour walk a day. If I can get more, it's like a heavenly day. I'm like, yes, girl, you did it, right? If I could find the time. And for me, like I like Allie's app because it's in one place. Like there's something about, I don't like searching different places for things. Like when I'm looking on this website, looks amazing. And I know a ton of people are going to love this. For me personally, like I want to have it in one place and just click and be done and know someone else scheduled it for me. And, so it's like everyone has like what they like. And so I really love that. And then but the biggest thing you keep talking about too, this visualization of what are you going to feel like in those days and just going with that. It's powerful because it can stop you. I'm just going to share one story. I don't know if you ever heard on the podcast, but there was this moment, this was years ago when I first started working on, emotional eating and stuff. This was before GLP-1s were a bigger deal. And I remember when we were at the lake one day and we had got these donuts for the kids and I had actually brought my food already prepared, right? Like I knew, okay, I want to get this protein, fiber, whatever. And I go there and my instinct is just to grab it and eat it, right? I'm just like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then I said, well, how would you feel if tomorrow you hadn't done it? And it stopped me, right? It wasn't a hard thing to stop, but it was easy to be like, I don't want to feel bad after I eat this because you kind of don't feel the best necessarily with the donut unopposed, right? Like just on its own, you might not feel the best. And I didn't eat it. And then I was like, oh, but it was because I saw the next day that I would be grateful if I hadn't done that, right? And so you bringing this up several times, it's so incredibly powerful. So I really hope that people can hear that.
Yep. And there's one more thing, and I think Dr. Alley talks about this. I know for sure, and you probably have too, is that real estate of your food. I mean, I eat chocolate most every day.
Yep.
So it's really enjoying what you eat. And I'm really kind of really paying attention to, I really enjoy this or I really don't enjoy this, and eating what I enjoy. Maybe I want one really good cookie versus a diet cookie, for example. And
Totally.
so I think that's really important to enjoy what you eat. And that way you'll maybe be a little more satisfied and not dreading, oh, I got to get through this protein. If you don't like the protein shake, don't eat it. That's
100%. 100%. I love what you're saying. Yeah, like the diet products often
yeah.
they've stripped to strip down the fat. It's like this artificial, they brought down fat, but they actually brought up carbs. So you're not satisfied after you eat it and all the things. And this is why I always say with devotion, it's the only flavor profiles that I could ever stick with year after year. There were so many other products that I tried where it was like, I just don't like the taste and I'm not going to do gritty, disgusting for life. I'm just not going to do it. Right. So I like you actually have to like what you're eating. And also like, it's actually, if you think about it, it's never the problem, a few pieces of chocolate, or if you like one regular 12-ounce Coke a day, that's not the thing that's going to do people in, right? Like it's consistently all the other things. So I love that you bring that up. So Meg, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. You shared so many tips and tricks and perspectives, and just thank you so much for sharing your knowledge today.
Thanks for having me.
That marks the end of today's episode. But if you're newer to the podcast, I want to tell you about something that we have, and it's a free podcast roadmap. So this is perfect for any of you that are listening where you want to be directed to very specific episodes. So let's say that you are just starting out and you want to know, what should I do right when I start on the medications? Or you're experiencing certain side effects on the GLP-1s, or you want to know what to do if you're in a plateau, or if emotional eating is taking over, or if hunger levels are high. So we have many different categories of episodes that we've talked about, because there's a lot at this point. So if you want to be able to navigate that very easily, we have it broken down by category, and also the episodes that are there, and we hyperlink to everything. So you can just click on it and find the episode, easy peasy. If you want that, you can go to renteaclinic.com/podcast roadmap. We'll have it linked right here underneath the show notes where you're listening. And you can go ahead and get that free resource so that it makes it easy for you to navigate, because I know that it's really hard when someone has an established podcast. I am such a podcast fiend. I'm listening to podcasts all day long. And when I find one that I love, but there's a lot that are out there, I am so lost. So I hope that you enjoy this free podcast roadmap. Again, the link to get to that is going to be renteaclinic.com/podcast roadmap. I hope this is helpful, and let me know if you have any questions.